And now, another episode of MMA Gossip with your boys.
And we're live, baby. Episode 19, MMA Gossip. You know the usual. Like, comment, subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the whole nine. At MMA X Gossip, all of our socials across the board. If you haven't seen our last episode, we actually interviewed Brendan Allen, surging middleweight contender. He's taking over. Brendan All In Allen, awesome dude. Loved the interview. Had a great time. That's up on our YouTube channel. And with that being said, we're coming at you on a Thursday, boys. We're going back to back this week. Episode 19, we're in your life. We're going to be going over UFC Fight Island 2, rolling into UFC Fight Island 3. Let's get it, Mike.
And a little bit of Bellator at the end.
Oh, a little bit of Bellator, baby. Chrissy Bellator back in your life too.
Where would we be without you, Chris? Local Bellator hero over here. All right, so we're going to breeze right through last week's card. There's a bunch of whack fights, and there's a few, really good ones. So here we go. Sergey Spivak gets a really boring decision over Carlos Felipe. Armin Tsarukyan looked amazing against Davi Ramos. Can't wait to see what's next for him. Amir Albazi destroyed Malcolm Gordon. Brett Johns edges out a really close but clearly won decision over Montel Jackson. Joel Alvarez, plus 275. Two of the boys on this podcast got that 275 juice because Joe Duffy should have never been minus 400. Congrats to Joe Duffy on a long, illustrious career in his retirement. Very happy for all you've done for the sport. Grant Dawson absolutely outclassed, destroyed Nadner Amani. Can't wait to see what's next for him.
Answer our DM.
Answer our DM, man. We're trying to reach out. Roman Dolidze destroys Khadis Ibragimov. Not sure if Ibragimov's going to be in the UFC after that, so congrats to Dolidze and staying undefeated. And we get to the good stuff. Askar Askarov edges out a close decision over Pantoja, but clearly Askarov won. Matt, take it.
Dude, wait, did you say clearly he won, you think?
I thought he clearly won. Yeah,
I'm so biased. It's not even funny. I thought that Pantoja was up 2-1. I thought he definitely lost the third. I thought that he won the first round with the grappling exchanges. I don't know, man. Like, I get that he was on his back a lot, or especially early in that first round. But he was throwing up so much offense that I was like, all right, he had like 4 sub attempts in the first minute. And I don't know, man, like to me, he was being a lot more offensive as opposed to Askarov. To me, was just kind of holding him there. I get the decision because I don't get the decision. I'm pissed too because I like Pantoja. Me and Chris were hyping him up. He was on this card to step in for a title shot if something went wrong in the main event. And it sucks because, from Dana's perspective, he's taking a step backwards. He's going to have to fight his way back up the ladder now. Probably not too much, but, we'll see what happens. I don't think his striking looked that good as opposed to previous fights. I don't know. Some didn't look right in this fight, but, props to Askarov for getting the job done, and we'll see what he brings to the table next because clearly his grappling and his wrestling is a problem because a guy like Pantoja couldn't even stop it, and that's his game. So we'll see what's up with both of them next. Chris?
Well, before I get into this, I don't know if Mike's ever mentioned this before, but Askar Askarov is actually 90% down. You probably heard that once or twice on this podcast. But with that being said, I don't think it was a clear decision either. I thought the first round was super not questionable, but I think live – I've rewatched it since, but I did give the first round to Pantoja as soon as the round ended. The second round, I think Pantoja definitely won. And then the third round, Pantoja faded, and Askarov definitely won. Yep. So 2 and 3 were clear cut. After watching again, I do think Askarov won the first round. Due to what Matt just said, Pantoja was just on the bottom more. They were both pretty active. I think that Pantoja was a little bit flashier, but Askarov was literally just controlling more, and I think that if he edges out round 1, he clearly won round 3. And I was concerned with Pantoja's cardio, being that, like Matt said, if he was supposed to go into a 5-round fight, say Figueiredo pulled out and he was supposed to fight Benavidez for 5 rounds, at midway through the third round, he was toast. So I did not like to see that. But yeah, man, props to Askar Askarov. I mean, if he's a little bit more promotable, I think he should fight Figueiredo next. I don't know where they're going. I'm hearing they're mentioning Garbrandt at 125, which I literally don't have zero interest in. None. But we shall see.
I think babyface Brandon Moreno should get the next shot. He's definitely proven to be there at the top. He beat Jussier Formiga in his last fight. I know MMA math doesn't add up, but Figueiredo's last loss was to Jussier Formiga, his only loss. So I think Brandon Moreno should definitely get that fight. Askar looked good, but I think he's proved to get tired in his fights too. Pantoja clearly was exhausted. So based on those performances, I wouldn't say that Askarov was oh my God, blew my mind. Whereas Brandon Moreno's win over Jussier Formiga was damn, he's really legit. So based off performance, I think Moreno should get it. But we'll see. Hopping on up to Lipski, got a nice armbar over Luana Carolina. Props to her, back on the win column. Definitely what the UFC wanted. I hope Luana Carolina's knee is a little bit better. It looked like she was in some serious pain. And up to the next one, Rafael Fiziev with the Matrix-style fight against Mark Diakiese totally shut him down. Matt.
Dude, so me and Chris were all over him. Mike, I think you were too, but he was my lock. And I know Chris jumped down my throat when I said it, but I kind of starting to think Casey might be a little bit of a fraud. Every time he gets a step up in competition, he just looks like shit. And I don't really think it's even a question of talent. I think he just doesn't really like adversity. If the fight's not going his way, and within that first minute, he doesn't fight well from behind. And he needs to be controlling the fight from start to finish. In all three of his losses prior to this, he fought guys that coming in, they were all supposed to be better than him, and they were a test for him, and he failed all three tests, goes back down, showcases some newfound wrestling ability, and completely wipes the floor with Joe Duffy and fucking whoever else. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Groovy Lando.
Yeah, Groovy Lando. And then he faces a striker, which is supposed to be his wheelhouse. Granted, me and Chris also didn't know that. We should have did our homework, that he's a coach at fucking Tiger Muay Thai, which is insane. But, yeah, man, I don't really know where he goes from here. I don't know if he needs a mental coach or something, a sports psychology coach. I don't know what he needs, because the talent's definitely there. There's just something about him when he faces adversity, he just kind of folds. I don't know. It sucks because I like him a lot. I think he's a talented fighter. There's just something about his game and the whole mental aspect I don't think he's putting together. Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I said that on our last podcast that he beat kind of no ones, and then he fought higher level competition and lost, and then they put him back down. I had never heard of Fiziev before this fight, and I definitely do now. He looked like a beast in there. I don't want to say that was a one-time thing, because he looked so fucking good, and clearly he's a coach of Tiger Muay Thai, so he's doing something right. But ever since then, now I've seen pictures with Petr Yan come out with them training together. So this dude is definitely someone to watch. I don't want to write Diakiese off just yet. They won fight of the night bonus, so they got $50,000 each. So I know that Diakiese said he's going to use that $50K, and just now he can focus on training more. It almost seemed like he felt rushed into this fight a little bit, and now he'll have time to really sit back and I guess develop more. Like you said, he came back with a better wrestling game. But the one thing that did worry me is Diakiese prides himself on being a striker and got badly outstruck in this fight. So that's a little bit worrying. But yeah, props to Rafael, and we'll see where he goes from here.
Yeah, I think people were kind of counting Fiziev off because he got spinning wheel kick knocked out by Mustafayev. But other than that, he's been pretty sound, and obviously he's a Muay Thai machine, doing matrix moves out there. So obviously everything's clear in hindsight. I stayed away from this one personally, but I did pick on the podcast for Diakiese to win. So, all right, up next, Jack Hermanson submitted Kelvin Gastelum in the first round. Gastelum ferocious.
Chris is shaking his head.
Dude, Matt flexed when you said that. Last podcast, Matt was literally sucking Kelvin Gastelum off. The whole time, it's boxing so good. I don't see him getting taken down. Mike goes, Jack Hermanson. Matt's like, told you guys. I told you. I literally said that Matt was going to bet on Jack Hermanson after talking about Kelvin Gastelum last podcast. If I knew how to edit videos, I'd play that on fucking loop and just zoom in on Matt's face closer and closer as I said it.
Yeah, not only did I bet on Hermanson, I put 250 on him, or 230 for 200, but I also took him by sub in the first round. what it was the bet was like $25 for like 5 something, and that's why I was flexing. I was fucking pumped, and especially how quickly it happened. I didn't have to worry, quick and easy. But regardless of my bets, that was so impressive, dude. Like, where do you guys think Hermanson goes from here? Because there's not much to analyze in the fight. It was a minute and a half, not even a minute. It was quick as shit. Like, there's nothing to analyze. It's what's next for Hermanson now in a pretty clogged up division. I think he said that he wants the belt next. And he said that he's going to be fighting Costa for it, not Izzy, which is interesting. But I don't know if he gets a title shot after that. I guess we just have to wait and see. I think it should be Till if he wins this weekend. But also, I'm a fan of Till, so. Chris, go ahead.
I thought I could definitely be wrong, because now that you said, I think you might be right. I thought he said Cannonier should get it, and he wants to fight the winner of Till and Whittaker, and he thinks that Whittaker's going to win.
I could be wrong. I'm almost positive I saw it. It could have been someone else, but somebody said I'm fighting for the belt next, and it's going to be against Costa. I'm pretty sure it was him.
I know Till said that he thinks he should fight for the belt next. But anyway, and I also saw on the Schmoes podcast, shout out to Schmo, that Till.
Sorry, it was him. Sorry to interrupt you. I just fact checked myself. Jack Hermanson expecting to fight Paulo Costa for the UFC title.
Yeah, that's the headline. But I think that he said he should fight the winner of Till and Whittaker, and he thinks that Costa's going to beat Izzy. But regardless, yeah, like you said, I don't think we learned too much from that. That was fucking awesome. Now, I was all aboard the Kelvin Gastelum train. I thought he was definitely going to win. I picked him on the last podcast, so did fucking Matt. So listen to anything he says. But I'm kind of starting to doubt him now. Like I went back, like, so right now I have it up on my phone just because I was going over this in my head over and over. So he's on a 3-fight skid, losing to Izzy and like basically fight of the year contender, no problem. Losing to Darren Till, he looked gun shy. This fight, he was stopped real quickly. And just going back a little bit, Weidman, who's been on a huge losing streak, who I absolutely love, so nothing wrong with that, submitted him as well. He beat Bisping, but Bisping literally was just about unconscious about 3 minutes before that fight started. And then he beat Jacare I think it was a split decision. So this is like, that's troubling. You know what I mean? And I'm super high on him. I really don't know where he goes from here. Hermanson, I think, should be fighting for the belt as long as Cannonier's not, I get it, he's not very promotable, but I think he's the clear-cut number one contender. He should be for sure. What happened, Mike? You're laughing over there.
No, I'm just laughing at you. The way you talk is funny. Keep going. You're entertaining me.
I just ramble, dude, because this is like what's going on in my fucking head. Basically, I think that Hermanson should fight the winner of Till and Whittaker, and Cannonier should fight the winner of Costa and the champ, Izzy. But with that being said, we'll see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, fair enough. Main event. Joseph Benavidez gets flatlined probably 6 times before he gets choked out by Figueiredo in the remaining seconds of round 1. Can't say anybody that bet Joe B or thought Joe B was going to win, stop. Like, the writing was on the walls. Like, it's over before it's over. So now he was the uncrowned king. Now he's the crowned king. Headbutts aside, no, there was no controversy. Totally smashed him. Figueiredo is a monster, Matt.
Mashed him. This might be the most dominant title performance ever. The only ones that come to my mind in recent memory, I guess, are like Eddie and Connor, and I guess Holly and Ronda. Like, it was fucking dominant. That last right hand he threw, he didn't even set it up. He just said, "Fuck you! You're not stopping me," and he just launched it from his hip, put him down. Like, and that rear naked was so sick. The image they caught of Joe B with his eyes popping out of his head, he was out. It was one of those ones where I'm up screaming for them to stop the fight because he was clearly out. But props to Figueiredo. Like, interested to see who gets the next title shot against him, because the way Pantoja and Asarov looked, man, I think he made quick work of both of them as well. Chris, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it already. That was devastating. That was like almost hard to watch. I've watched, fighting's my favorite thing in the world to watch, and that was like hard to watch. But yeah, I don't know where Joe B goes from here. I know he said he wants to fight again until he wins, so they'll probably feed him like, another contender, and he'll probably fucking lose at this point, which I don't want to see. So I like Joe B a lot. I'm a big fan of his. I want to see him go out on a high note, but yeah, that was just a mauling. So props to Figueiredo. I don't see who's going to – I mean, I have two opinions on this. I don't see someone beating him right now, but he's a power puncher who relies on his power punching, I guess, at 125. Although in this fight, he looked like a complete fucking fighter to me. So that shut me down real quick on that. So we'll see what happens. Garbrandt at 125, I definitely don't want to see. I'd love to see him fight Moreno, and that's it. Mauling.
All right, that's it. You guys ready to dive right into next week's Saturday's card?
Yeah, Mike, let me ask you a question, Mike, before we do it. How are you going to remember Joe B?
A perennial 5-time fighting for the championship, first class Hall of Famer. Like you can't say anything bad about him. You can't take anything away from him. He's a phenomenal fighter. He was a WEC guy, one of the few remaining WEC guys. Just class act, righteous mixed martial artist. All good things, man. I got nothing bad to say about him, but he was not in the 10 out of 10 times he loses that fight to Figueiredo,
You want to know how I remember him?
How?
Oh, here we go.
Married to Megan O'Leary.
That was better than I expected, to be honest with you.
I was expecting something much worse. All right, guys. Got a lot to say about this card, man. And I got to say, I put a lot of time because we had 2 days to study this card. And I got to say, there's a lot of spots in this card that I think are sneaky. I think the bookies are going to make out like a bandit on this particular card because the lines are really scary, really sketchy. But and I got to say, the more tape I do and the more research I dig into, the less confident I am in my picks. And I guess that's, in a way, that's a good thing because I'm going to make the most calculated picks I possibly can make with all the research that I've done. But even with that said, I'm not confident in a lot of these. So let's dive right into it. We've got Nathaniel Wood sitting at like a minus 450, some spots minus 500, going up against John Castaneda, sitting around a plus 320, plus 330. Matt?
I'm on Wood here. I do think it's actually worth a sprinkle on Castaneda. Wood didn't look like he was ready for that John Dodson test, in my opinion. And obviously the result agrees. That being said, I don't think that the train is completely stopped on him yet. I just think that it was a huge jump in competition from Quinones to a guy like John Dodson. As old as Dodson gets, and he's still a vet. He still probably is the fastest hands in the division, and he still cracks, man. I mean, he's a very hard test. So I would like Wood to rebound here. I think he does rebound here, and I think that after this fight, hopefully he wins. I think that Dana should take it a little bit slower with him than with whoever he fights next. Chris, what do you think?
I agree. You guys know I'm a huge Nathaniel Wood fan. I've been a Nathaniel Wood fan since him fighting in Cage Warriors. He was the champion there. He looked like a savage there. There was a couple times where I must say he engaged more than he should, and I think he overlooked Dodson a little bit. Like I think he thought that this is the test for me. I'm going to pass this with flying colors, and he didn't. Dodson's he's a game vet. Dodson was almost a flyweight champ. Talking about flyweights, he almost stopped Mighty Mouse, for God's, you know what I mean? So it's like people tend to forget that. I'm really high on Nathaniel Wood. I'm not quite sure if Castaneda's UFC caliber just yet. I don't want to put him there. I could definitely see Nathaniel Wood engaging on the feet, and that would be where Castaneda has any success, the sexy Mexi. But I envision Nathaniel Wood getting the fight to the ground. His wrestling is significantly better, and his ground game is like light years better. And I asked you guys last night, but you scumbags didn't answer me, and I want to know what the line is because I deleted DraftKings.
Lies. Well, go back. I answered you this morning at 5:30.
Oh, okay. All right. I take it back then. I take it back because I would love to bet Nathaniel Wood by submission. So what was the line? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Okay. So all I know is that for the fight to go the distance is a plus money. So that means that Nathaniel Wood is definitely a favorite to finish the fight. So it's
you did answer.
It's still favorite odds for him.
It's probably not out yet. The props like that usually aren't out this early.
Yeah. But so my thing here is John Castaneda, I do think he's a step behind in literally every single aspect of the game compared to Nathaniel Wood. But the thing is, Nathaniel Wood is very counterable. We saw that in almost all his fights. He's been rocked in multiple fights. Like, he's a little bit chinny, man, and Dodson really put him away. And, coming back from a fight like that, I can see him being a little bit hesitant in this fight, kind of like how Alexander Hernandez was after he got knocked out by Cerrone. So I do think he's going to be a lot more cautious in this fight, which I think is going to prove to be, good for him. I think Nathaniel got to take a little step back, man, because sometimes he just rushes in. And Castaneda's got decent counters from what I saw. But I do think Nathaniel Wood wins. I think he wins by decision. I don't think he's going to submit him. Castaneda's a pretty tough dude. Too much too soon for him. But Castaneda's been training for 8 weeks, hoping to get the call for the UFC. So he's definitely prepared. Combate is a decent league, decent competition. So, we'll see. I personally sprinkled Castaneda because I think the odds are outrageous, but I do pick Nathaniel Wood to win this fight. Up next, we got the Ramazan Emeev going up against Nicholas Stoltz. Emeev is sitting around probably, again, wide line, minus 450 to compare to Stoltz's plus 320. Matt.
This is a fight where I really don't I just don't agree with the line. I don't think Emeev is that good. He wants to be up against the cage. He wants to be on the ground. He wants to be grappling, and he really doesn't do much with it. He wins a lot by decision. But unfortunately, you want to sprinkle a guy like Stoltz, which I'm definitely going to. Mike, we were discussing this before. SBG fighter. He's known for being McGregor's sparring partner, helped him train for Aldo, Diaz. So his striking is going to be pretty fucking legit. So if he can keep himself out of those boring grappling exchanges with a fucking retard like Emeev. I'm sorry. He's definitely worth a look. He's definitely worth a look with some plus money there. And I think the better money is even taking him by TKO/KO because he's not going to win a decision. If this fight's going to decision, it's going to be Emeev. What's it called? He hasn't fought in a while though, which is probably also plays into the odds. I think he hasn't lost in 3 years. That's what it was. Hasn't lost in 3 years. He hasn't been. I've watched a couple fights. He looks competent in grappling exchanges, but that's really Emeev's bread and butter. So I don't know if he's competent enough to consistently work out of them to get in enough offense to steal rounds. I hope he does because I'm definitely going to be betting him. A little biased, as I said, because of SBG, but we'll see what happens. That's why they got to fight, right? Chris, go ahead.
Is it? I thought it was Emiev. I've heard people pronouncing it Emiev, but I've heard both pronunciations on Watch Tape. Anyway, I'll also go with Emeev because that's what you guys said. Anyway, I just see him absolutely winning a decision here, just grinding it out on top, pounding him out, and taking it here. He's a former M1 champion at middleweight, so he's going to be the bigger guy coming in here, and bigger guy grappling his side of the fucking globe is just a recipe for success for him. So I see Emeev winning this one.
Yeah, I can't stand Emeev. He's so boring. So boring. But I got to give a shout out to Numbers MMA because I was listening to him and he was saying Emeev doesn't really have good takedowns. He's got about 20% accuracy in his takedowns. He's more of a push you up against the cage and knee you a little bit, elbow here and there, kick you, calf kicks. He'll throw the straight right once in a while. Doesn't really make combos. He's super boring, but he finds a way to just win on the judges' scorecards. So the way to beat him is, I think, with volume, especially with these Abu Dhabi judges. They really put a lot of stock into volume from fighters. So I think Stoltz at plus what is it? Plus 350 is again worth a sprinkle. But again, these lines are crazy, scary, super tricky, and I think the bookies got it right. And I think Emeev definitely wins this fight. Super boring decision. Up next, Betch Kohea going up against Pani Kianzad. Matt.
Here's the beer run fight. They're two very similar styles. They want to stand and just box. I don't think Pani has a single win by sub. I think I'm going to go with Beth here just because she's been in there with better people and she seems more aggressive to me. But I'm not going to say her last name. Pani, she definitely, I think she excels in the clinch. If she's able to get her there often, I think she could get off some solid offense. This fight's just it's unbettable. I'm going to go with Beth. Not confident. Chris, go ahead.
So we're going to differ on this one. I'm going to go like this card I'm saying. I'm going to go with Pani on this one. I just think that at this point in Betch's career, I think she's 30. She's almost 38 years old. That's just way too old. She's been slow and sloppy her whole career, and I just see her. She's almost digressing in her MMA career, and I think Pani's catching her at the right time, and I could just see her win. I'm not saying this is going to be a barn burner like Matt said. This is probably the beer run fight, but I just see Pani winning in a decision here.
Well, let's just all agree on one thing. Betch is definitely the thicker woman in there. So the only way that she's going to win this fight is she makes it a dirty, close, get inside, clinch up against the cage kind of fight. Kianzad, I think, definitely has the better striking. But, we've seen Kianzad get absolutely destroyed by Julia Avila, which is no shame there. But she did get rocked a lot. I don't know. This fight sucks. I don't really care. I really don't care. I'm going to go with Kianzad because she's the favorite. I'll side with the odds makers, but I wouldn't be surprised if the veteran Betch Correia pulls out a W here. We got Rafael Pessoa, heavyweight division, sitting at a plus 185, something like that, going up against Tanner Boser, making a quick turnaround, sitting at minus 240. Real quick, I want to say before you guys do your breakdown, I'm pretty sure the line opened up as a pick'em, so take that with what you will, Matt.
What's it at now?
Minus 240, Boser.
Wow. Recency bias.
100%. I'll get when it gets to me, I'll talk about that. Go ahead.
So you guys have heard me talk a lot about how I'm fading people that are fighting on short turnarounds. I'm actually going against my own narrative here. I'm taking Boser in this fight, more specifically because it's at heavyweight and he doesn't have to deal with cutting weight. Even though he is on the smaller side, he fucking put Linz's lights out in the first round. He's light on his feet. He's got pretty fluid striking. And, just generally speaking, he looked good in his last fight. So I think that I think he wins by knockout here again and continues to impress. As for Rafael, I mean, he lost the fight to Don, which he was supposed to. I probably said his name wrong because I always fucking do. He lost Don, yeah, that he was supposed to lose, and then he beat Jeff Hughes, like big whoop. That dude's a complete tomato can. Yeah, but I'm on Boser here for sure. Not much else to say. Chris?
I love doing this to you guys. I literally have been laughing in the past 15 minutes more than I have in the last 3 days. But anyway, I'm going Boser here as well. I think I'm Boser's biggest fan in the MMA gossip. I don't know if I made him a lock, but I know for a fact I picked him to win his last fight against Felipe Lins. He's one of my 3 picks. And I was all over that. I did not see it ending like that. I'm not going to be one to tell you that I saw that happening. But in this one, this is another one where, full disclosure to all our listeners, I deleted DraftKings because I would bet on UFC. Next thing you know, I'm freaking doing a soccer parlay because I have nothing else going on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I got rid of it. So I'm not sure about lines here, but Tanner Boser is I don't want to say a cardio machine. I don't want to go that far, but he somewhat is. He has a fantastic cardio for the heavyweight division, and I don't think Pessoa does, and I think Boser can just outlast him. I'm imagining that the line is – this is one of those heavyweight fights that will probably go to decision, and if it does go to decision, I'll probably eat my words, but if it goes to decision, I don't see a way Tanner Boser loses, and I see it going to decision.
Real quick, let's take a look at the timeline, though, because Boser fought, 2 weeks ago, which means that he went home back to Canada, got the call, hey, come back to Abu Dhabi, come fight this guy, comes back to Abu Dhabi. So he's done a lot of traveling. We don't know how much training he's been doing in that time. He looked awesome in his last fight, definitely leaned out, 10 pounds slimmer than he usually comes in. I'm just saying the line is outrageous, and I really don't think there's a lot of value on Boser. I'm really reluctant to pick him. I'm going to. But I would not be surprised if Pessoa somehow edges out this win. Maybe Tanner Boser lays an egg. Quick turnaround fighters haven't been doing that well. So, do with that information what you will, but I'm staying away from this 100%. My pick is Boser, though. Up next, Movsar Evloev going up against Mike Grundy. I actually think this fight is actually awesome. I'm a big Movsar fan purely because of his awesome grappling. But Movsar is sitting around a minus 200 right now to Mike Grundy's plus 170, plus 160. Matt.
Yeah, so I went back and forth on this fight for a bit. I think it's a lot closer than the line indicates. I think Movsar is like over 200 at the moment. So I went back and I watched the fight against Barzola because to me that was his closest fight. Little background. Barzola trains out of Tiger Muay Thai, so you know what he likes to do. Even though his wrestling is pretty solid, prior to that fight, he was only taken down 1 time. Movsar got him down 4 times. But my point being, he trains at Tiger Muay Thai. The first round and even the second round, I think the whole fight, in my opinion, Movsar looked like he had better stand-up. His jab had some serious pop, especially in that first round. He's consistently snapping his head back. Barzola was grabbing his eye within like the first 45 seconds of the fight. And he's nonstop pressure, nonstop. He changes levels very well between his shots, between his boxing and shooting. And I think that, like, I just think he's a better mixed martial artist. Grundy is a very accomplished wrestler. 67% of his fights, he was won by sub. He's quick to shoot. He wants to fight on the ground. But I think he's still more of a wrestler, and I think that Mosfer is just a better mixed martial artist. I think he mixes it up better. I think he flows better, and I just think he's more fluid. And I think that is one of those fights where the wrestling might cancel each other out, and I give Mosfer the advantage on the feet. You see that when guys are so dominant in one thing, like, there's so many references you can make, like just even like Ben Askren and Damian Maia, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman. Like, so many times you see these guys that win fights in specific ways. When they fight somebody with similar styles, they don't get there because they can't. And I think you can definitely see that in this fight. I am going to go Mosfer, but he's not going to be any of my picks, and I'm not going to lock him in anywhere. It's going to be a close fight, and I'm definitely pumped up for this one. Chris?
So we got to watch this back because three of us talk way too much to each other, because when you just made that reference, you'll see me smile before you say it, because I knew for a fact you were going to say Ben Askren and David Meyer first. You always reference that, and I literally – watch it back. I smile before you say it. Anyway, with that being said, I totally agree. Like, everything in my head you just said, Matt, I was going back and forth on this one a lot too. My thought process here was Masvidal is – a wrestler, and now he's training at Tiger Muay Thai. So that it's like wrestler, insane striking, and Mike Grundy
and ATT. He trains at ATT.
No, I thought it was AK. I thought it was AKA.
I think it's ATT. I could be wrong. I'll fact check.
When I watched Barzola today, I could have swore. I mean, that fight today, I could have swore Buffer said AKA. I could be wrong though. I have in my notes AKA too. I'm pretty
in
sure.
Thailand.
No. Barzola fights out of Tiger Muay Thai, and I'm pretty sure Mosfer fights out of AKA.
No, Mosfer is half. He does a little bit at Tiger and a little bit at ATT.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Because that's what I was looking at. I was looking at videos online today of Mosfer training at Tiger Muay Thai, and that combined with his wrestling, I was like, holy shit. Then in my head, I'm like, oh my God, Mike Grundy, insane wrestling background, training with Colin Herron, who's training Darren Till, gotta be improving his striking. So this is a good one where I'm definitely staying, like Matt said, I'm definitely staying away from it. If I'm gonna make a pick, I'm gonna go Evloev on this one, based on everything I just reiterated that Matt said. But I think this is a little bit closer than the line says. I agree. Like I said, I literally just said exactly what Matt said, but I completely agree.
Yeah, I agree. The line should be a little bit closer. But something interesting to note is that when Evloev was an M1, he was the bantamweight champion. And this is his third fight in the UFC as a featherweight, whereas Grundy is a huge featherweight. He would have to cut off his arm to get down to 135. So there's definitely going to be a size discrepancy in there. But the way that Grundy fought Nad Nirmani, man, like he just throws one shot at a time, man. His boxing is so like low level, man. He definitely wants to take it to the ground. I think it's going to cancel out in this particular fight, and Grundy got rocked in that fight, man. In my personal opinion, that was a fluke win. He landed a nice crisp shot in Nirmani and put him down, but Evloev's chain wrestling is absolutely legit, and I do think that if their wrestling cancels out, which is a good chance, I think Evloev's striking between his first fight and his second fight against Barzola was like leaps and bounds better. And now this is like, almost a year later. I think it's going to be even that much better. And I don't see Grundy getting that much better at 33 years old. He entered mixed martial arts at 29 years old. There's only so good you can get when you start that late. I think everything's on Evloev's side, and the only thing on Grundy's side is his size. So take with that what you will. I'm on Evloev. Up next, Jake Collier, making his return since 2017, USADA suspension for 2 years, going up against Tom Aspinall. Aspinall's sitting at a pretty sizable favorite, I think minus 230 to Collier's plus 170. Matt?
Yeah, I'm on Aspinall here, man. I mean, Collier, before he got popped, was nothing special. I mean, I think he fought at like 3 divisions in the UFC. I mean, this is his third. Fought a middleweight, light heavy, now he's at heavyweight. He would be one of a couple people to have wins at 3 divisions. I'm not going to reference who because it's Jay Collier and he sucks. But even without a 3-year layoff, like, I wouldn't have bet him in this fight anyway. He's this is low level heavyweight mixed martial arts here. I'm going with Aspinall. I would not bet a line this big. I say that now. Times will probably change come Saturday. I would not bet a line this big, though, in a fight like this. Just having watched Collar before, like, he definitely has more ways to win the fight, in my opinion. Aspinall has won 72% of his fights by knockout. Haven't seen much, if any, ground game from him at all. But still, like, I'm not. It's Jake Collar. Like, he 3-year layoff. He was never good to begin with. That's all you need to know. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet. The only way I would bet on this fight is if DraftKings could give me my money back if I lost. Like, I literally would never bet on this fight. The only thing everything Matt just said about Jake Collier, it goes, self-explanatory. We've seen him fight before. He was a middleweight at one point, a small light heavyweight. Now he's fighting at heavyweight. Tom Aspinall, I watched video today. His last fight, he weighed in at 255. That's not a fucking middleweight. That's a heavyweight. So I think he's just going to weigh on him, and I just see him winning here. Again, I wouldn't lay a penny on this, but that's my take on the fight. If you're asking me, I'm going to go Aspinall.
I think Collier is going to lay a fat egg on Saturday. I really do. He was never anything special to begin with. He's been KO'd a couple of times in the UFC, win one, lose one kind of guy. Got suspended 2 years, coming back against a guy that the UFC is obviously trying to promote. Tom Aspinall trains with Grundy and Till over there. So, I mean, Tom Aspinall also has beaten literally nobody over there, and he's 7-2, so his record is really not that great so far. But I'm going to lean with the UFC's matchmaking. I'm going to lean with the odds makers. I'm going to lean with the fact that Jake Collier is nothing special and has definitely laid eggs before in the UFC. So my pick is Tom Aspinall. Up next, Nicholas.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
I literally, when you said I thought you were about to say lay out Tom Aspinall. I was about to be like, oh my God.
He ain't laying nobody out.
All right, good. Thank God.
Nicholas Dalby going up against Jesse Ronson. Dalby is like a minus 285, something absurd like that, going against Jesse Ronson's plus 220. Matt.
Yeah, this is the odds makers aren't doing anybody any favors with these fights, man. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, you get two guys here that are both on their second stint in the UFC. Ronson's first stint, he fought some pretty fucking solid competition, man. He fought Trinaldo, Prazeres, and Kevin Lee. Granted, all three at 155, but he looked competent. I went back and watched. He looked competent in all three fights. He's got really solid striking. Nicholas Dalby, on the other hand, his first stint in the UFC did not go that well. His one win against Dos Santos, had a draw against Darren Till, which looking back on is fucking crazy. Then he lost his other two fights and got the boot. Came back and looked like he made some progress out in Cage Warriors, came back and beat the ultra inconsistent Alex Cowboy Oliveira, which we'll get to later. This is a tough fight. These two guys that like to stand and bang. Dalby, for a karate guy, has surprisingly solid takedowns, but even though Ronson's coming up in a week, I think he's whatever promotion, I forget the promotion he went to between stints. I think he did move up previous to this, so I don't put much stock in having him fought back in 2013-14 lightweight. I think I'm going to go with Ronson here and take some plus money, man. He didn't fight tomato cans in his first stint in the UFC. And Dalby, like Mike said, he's such a big fucking favorite. I can't back that. I can't. It's, I'm trying to bet smarter these days and not just blindly throw money at massive favorites. I'd rather sprinkle a dog, man. I'm going Ronson here. Chris, what do you think?
I love you, dude. I love your new thought process, your newfound thought process.
I came to the conclusion I'm never going to quit, so I might as well just be smart about it.
Well, can you say, bro, you're not a quitter. Sorry, you don't quit. With that being said, neither one of these guys are extremely good. Per se, they're both kind of just right there in the middle, just about average all around. But I like Nicholas Dalby as a fan. I know he went over to Cage Warriors. So like Matt said, they're both on their second stint in the UFC. Neither one of them fared very well in their first stint in the UFC. I don't think that Jesse Ronson would be here still if the UFC, if it wasn't so these times weren't so demanding. But with that being said, Nicholas Dalby went to Cage Warriors and actually did pretty well for himself. I think he won like 3 or 4 fights. He won a few fights in a row, made a name for himself. I remember people were like demanding him be on Helwani's show. Even, Helwani's show is very heavily skewed towards UFC, a little Bellator, and one in there. Cage Warriors, he was real, like, people were shouting his name, and he made a name for himself, and he deserved to be back in the UFC, which I respect, and that's why, A, that's one reason I'm going with him, and B, he's a true welterweight, whereas Ronson was fighting lightweights, and Dalby's a pretty big welterweight, so I'll ride with Dalby on this one. Although I do think the line is a little steep for this level of a fight, I am going to ride with Dalby.
Yeah, I don't know which way to lean with this one because obviously there's no value at Dalby at minus 285, man. Like, he gets dropped all the time. He's tough. He always finds a way to get back in the fight, but he does get dropped a lot. Good offensive wrestling, okay striking. I do think Ronson definitely has the striking advantage. I'm just not quite sure how good a shape Ronson is in because he trains in Canada with Malcolm Gordon, the guy who just got demolished last week. And I know that there was some problems in Canada with the quarantine and finding training. So I don't really know how good a shape he's in. I know he's really big for 155, so it's good that he's going to 170. He's not cutting that weight anymore. But I don't know. I'm going to lean with him because of the dog odds, and Dalby is just like so average and everywhere. So I'll go with Ronson. Not confident. Probably not going to place a bet either. Go ahead.
If you saw a guy look at you like this across the bar, how would you feel about it?
I'd be like, take my money. I don't know what you're going to do.
I feel like he'd want to kiss or something.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like he wants to fucking kiss me.
Whether you're going to beat me up or kiss me, man, take my money.
But I'm down for both. No.
All right, boys. We got a perennial 155-pounder in Francisco Trinaldo going up against Jai Herbert. Matt. Oh, hold on real quick. The line. Sorry. We got Francisco Trinaldo's a minus 177 to Jai Herbert's plus 140. Matt.
I'm all over Jai Herbert here, man. All over it. Trinaldo, again, quick turnaround. Don't like it. 42 years old. Don't like him making a weight cut like this at that age in such a short span of time. Age obviously isn't on his side. He doesn't have much left in the tank. And I watched some of Jai Herbert today. Man, is he a fucking violent striker. 8 of his 10 wins by knockout. His takedown defense is ridiculous. And when he does get taken down, he gets right back up. I think he makes this a brutal night for Trinaldo. And I think Trinaldo gets what he's kind of had coming for a really long time now. Like, you see him just skate by winning point fights. And this guy's not going to stand there and trade leg kicks with you. He's coming at you. He's going to be really fucking aggressive. And I love the plus money here. I'm all over it. Interesting note, though, his only loss is against Rice McKee, who's fighting later on this card against Kazamat. Chris, go ahead.
It was a knockout too, right? He lost by knockout in that fight, I believe.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
But anyway, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Again, I'm going to share your thoughts on this fight straight through. I feel like Trinaldo's just been skating by. He's about 1,000 years old, it seems, and he just doesn't die. He's like in a movie when you keep shooting the fucking thing and it just doesn't go away. But I feel like this might be one of the times, like Matt said, where he does go away. He's 42, I believe you said, and his volume has been super low. He's just been skirting by, and I think Jai Herbert here just comes out with something to prove. I know I'm going to go against myself. I want to shoot myself after because I keep saying I'm going to not pick against UFC vets when a UFC newcomer is coming in, but the UFC newcomer here isn't a massive favorite. Is he actually?
No, he's an underdog.
He is an underdog.
Not a big one. He's only like plus 140.
Jai Herbert is an underdog. Okay, good. That's what I thought. For a second, I thought you said minus, but that's right. So, okay, perfect. Right on par. That's what I think is going to happen. I do think Herbert comes in here, and I think he could even finish Ronaldo. So,
yeah, I'm glad we all talked about the volume too, because I think volume is, again, Abu Dhabi's all about the volume. These judges and Francisco Trinaldo. The thing is, when people fight him, it feels like they're fighting his game. You know, like he doesn't really go for takedowns that often. He tries to reserve his gas tank, and he finds a way to eke out a decision. He hits hard, but it's not a lot. Whereas, you know, Herbert's going to come in here. I mean, he's going to stand in front of him and push him back, where it's usually Trinaldo that's usually pushing the pace. So I think that's going to be a big difference in this fight. If he can just, you know, avoid that big shot, avoid getting taken down, because he does get taken down relatively often. He's decent at getting up, but, you know, Trinaldo is a veteran, you know, jiu-jitsu guy. He might be able to keep him down. I think that's the only way he wins. If it stays on the feet, I really think Jai Herbert can maybe even put his lights out, man, because he hits hard, man. His you know, his cross right down the middle is lethal, man. So if it catches Trinaldo, and another thing, if he can keep the pace up, man, maybe Trinaldo can gas and win and he can win the decision here. So I'm with Jay Herbert as well. I think plus 140 is fair. Great, good odds for, a sprinkle, but Trinaldo's a vet for a reason. So if Trinaldo wins, will just be another fight we try to fade him in which we lose. That McDessie fight, oh my God, McDessie didn't do anything. And then the Bobby Green fight, I thought Bobby actually won that fight. So you just can't get rid of Francisco Trinaldo. Fuck this guy, get him out of UFC. Next fight, Khamzat Chimaev, minus 1250. Minus 1250 going up against Rice McKee. Matt.
I'm going Chimaev here. You
don't say.
He looked. I mean, honestly, I will sprinkle a bet on the other guy just on principle. I'm not betting a fucking minus 1200 line. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. But he came out of his last fight like a fucking buzzsaw, dude. Mike brought up some interesting points that I'll let him get to on why there might be worthwhile to sprinkle some money on McKee. But, just as picking the fight without betting, I'm going with Chimaev. Chris, what do you think?
I've said this 1,000 times in this podcast. I've said this more times than Mike has told us that Askar Askarov is 90% deaf. I am not a fucking handicapper, right? So don't listen to anything I say when it comes to odds. But I think that, well, first of all, I know that recency bias is huge in this one. And didn't Chimaev, wasn't it? I think the line opened at minus 700. So granted, he's going to fucking win. Clearly going to fucking win. But is it, again, I don't know shit about odds. Is it worth betting on Riz McKee solely? I mean, it's like throwing money into the fire, right? But if you're getting that 5 plus 500 value straight off for recency bias. So maybe, he slips on a banana peel, who knows? That's something I would bet on and lose money, hence why I deleted my DraftKings. But maybe you want to throw $10 on there. You're probably throwing it to the fireplace because Chimaev is going to win. I think I saw somewhere that Chimaev by knockout or like TKO is pretty favorable, so maybe that's the way to go rather than submission. But, I mean, I don't see him losing. That dude's a beast. The Wolf is a wolf.
His last fight, I took him by knockout TKO. So there's some serious plus money in the second round, and I was getting all pumped up. But it seems that his route to victory is getting as much ground and pound as possible. The second you see an opening, throw up your sub. So
soften him up.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like there was a lot of times where he was just about to finish Phillips, in my opinion, and he would try to sink his arm under the neck. So I think that's the thought process with him. Again, like you said, anything could fucking happen. But, I think if you're going to bet him, you got to figure out how he's going to do it. Don't bet that money line straight up because God forbid he does slip on a banana peel. Mike, go ahead, get to your point about what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, so two things is like he fought John Phillips at 185, which is not Khamzat's normal weight class. And this particular fight is at 170 against Rice McKee. So he's making a 10-day turnaround and having to cut that extra 15 pounds, all in Abu Dhabi, all in this quarantine shit. So it's like there's something there with, maybe his endurance and cardio conditioning may not be as good as it was against Phillips because of the extra weight cut, super hot. There's a lot of factors that are up in the air. And another thing is like Rice McKee's a tough guy, all right? And, he's obviously going to get taken down and lose this fight, but there is a little bit of value on one thing. For the fight to go the distance is like plus 400 or something like that. So if McKee can just take the damage and, make it to the end of the fight, maybe there's a little bit of value there. But in terms of him winning, like he's not going to win, man. He's a UK guy that, UK guys can't wrestle. He's going to get taken down, man. He's going to get beat up. There's no way to get around it. But for me personally, I might sprinkle fight goes the distance at plus 400, with off chance that Rice McKee, is tough enough. And maybe Chimaev gets a little bit tired because of the extra weight cut in a matter of 10 days. So a little bit of factors there. But in terms of, betting Khamzat, if you want to lay the chalk, good luck. Put him in a parlay. You're not going to get any juice on it. All right, up next, Alex Cowboy Oliveira going up against Peter Sabata. Oliveira sitting around a minus 170 to Sabata's plus 140. Matt.
I know I've said this on this podcast before because obviously Oliveira's fought since we started this whole bit, but his problem is it's never his skill. He's really fucking good everywhere. He's got great subs. He's powerful on the feet. He flows well on the feet. There's something goes wrong with him every fight. Either his head's not there, his gas tank's not there. There's always something wrong with Cowboy Oliveira. His fight IQ is off, like something. That being said, I can't back Peter Sabata in this fight. He hasn't fought since 2018 when he got knocked out by Leon Edwards, and he hasn't won since 2017 when he had his rite of passage by knocking out Ben Saunders. And prior to that, he has 2 wins since 2016, and before that, he was never that great to begin with. He wants to fight on the ground. He likes to, from what I've seen, he likes to drag his opponents into deep waters. I think he has 10 wins by sub, and 6 of them are by rear naked choke. You do the math. And I still give the advantage to Cowboy on the ground early in the fight. If it goes later, I could see him getting lazy, trying to get up, and gets his neck sunk. That, again, as inconsistent as Cowboy is, I can't back a guy off of a 2-year layoff that has 2 wins in 4 years. It does. In the line on Cowboy, to me, is still good enough at -170 where he's worth a bet. He hasn't gotten younger since then. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it on my end. Chris, you could go ahead.
I feel that the GIF/meme of what's his name from the guy from The Hangover, Alan, with all the math numbers floating by his head. I see that right now with the MMA math floating by my head. With Alex, because Cowboy Oliveira lost to Nicholas Dalby, right? Where Peter Sabata beat Nicholas Dalby after I'm just hyping Dalby up. Anyway, I just thought that was a good reference. But anyway, this is one of the fights. I think I picked all favorites so far. I don't even know because this card is very, very favorite heavy, and I can see why in some places. But like Mike said, I think the bookies are going to do pretty well on this card. I'm going to go – man, I don't know. This is a good spot for Cowboy Oliveira because he's kind of one of those I'll fight anywhere, anyone, anytime type of fighters. Sometimes he just forgets to show up. Sometimes he gets taken out on a stretcher. Sometimes he's dancing the octagon with a cowboy hat. Who the fuck knows who's showing up? I think with all this said and done, like Matt just said, Peter Sabata looks to bring fighters into deeper water and submit them. I've seen Alex Oliveira fold and be submitted easy as fuck. Cowboy Cerrone, didn't he choke his ass out with the triangle choke in like the first fucking round? If I'm remembering correctly, he just folded like origami. So I can see that totally happening here. And this is another one where I wouldn't bet this. This is almost like a coin flip fight to me. Both guys are so average that either one can win. So I'm just going to ride with Sabata for the plus money. But I do see this being a violent fight.
So interesting. Sabata actually hired a boxing coach to live with him over the past year to improve his boxing. So he definitely is trying to get better in his striking. And from what I remember from the Leon Edwards fight is like he has a pretty solid job. Like he was popping Edwards with that jab. But the thing is, like, I feel like when he gets hit the right way, he kind of gives up, kind of folds too, because like he lost at the 4-minute and 59-second mark of round 3. And I'm like, dude, you can't just like hold on for one more second and go to the judge's decision. I'm like, that was a bad look. But, what kind of stunt is Alex Cowboy Oliveira going to pull in this fight? What is he going to do to put him in a bad position to get submitted or TKO'd? Like, I think if it goes to the ground at all, it's Sabata all day. So Sabata by submission is what I think the only clear path to victory for Sabata. Maybe a decision win if Alex Oliveira gasses. He's definitely been tended to do that. So based on Sabata taking time off, not accumulating as much damage as Oliveira, ground game is clearly better, hiring a boxing coach. I think, Oliveira's got 10 kids to worry about at home, so I don't really know like which Alex Oliveira is going to show up. So I'm going to roll with Sabata to get a submission win. I'll probably sprinkle it a little bit, but, if Oliveira wins, punches Sabata in the gut and he folds over, I wouldn't be surprised. Another mid-level fight here. All right, up next.
You're on Sabata too?
I'm going Sabata.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be a lone wolf here.
Yeah.
Alex Oliveira, DMX, and Antonio Cromartie are the 3 people on earth fighting to have the most children before they die, I think.
I was
3 assholes, too. 3 people that should not have.
I was literally just going to
children.
say he's the fucking Antonio Cromartie of UFC.
I think Antonio Cromartie has like 13 kids with 12 different women.
Do you ever see the interview where he tries to name them all and he legitimately can't?
Dude, when he signed with the Jets, they paid him early because he had so much outstanding child support. What the fuck? Don't have any more kids, dude.
Dude, as much as I hate condoms, dude, just fucking toss one on. Jesus.
Dude, pull out, get a fucking, whatever the fuck the thing is called when you just shoot blanks. Just do something, dude. Stop filling so many tanks.
Yeah, Oliveira's got 9 kids. His 10th is on the way, I'm pretty sure. So
The double-digit children. He needs this fucking win bonus more than anyone.
I know. Another thing, man. He's fighting for that.
That could be some added incentive for him there, honestly, coming out just head hunting.
You don't say.
Oh man, this next fight is so brutal. Let's just breeze through this one. We got
Next.
Yeah, right. Paul the Bear Jew Craig going against Godsmurad Antigulov. Antigulov's a slight underdog, plus 110. Paul Craig's minus 130. Anytime Paul Craig is a favorite, don't bet on him. That's the only advice, Matt.
So Paul Craig might be one of the only guys in UFC history to win a fucking round 10-8 and then lose the fight. I mean, these guys are as untrustworthy as it gets. Antigulov has 20 wins, 15 by sub. Paul Craig has 12 wins, 11 by sub. So MMA math, somebody's going to win by a sloppy-ass fucking knockout. And I'm going to go with Paul Craig here. I mean, after seeing Antigulov get absolutely fucking melted by Kunte Lama and Olejniczak, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, the Polish dude that couldn't beat OSP. This fight is such a toss-up, man. It's going to end in the first round. Just take the under. I guess take Paul Craig if you're that bored, but not much to see here. Chris, go ahead.
I like what you said with the under, because that's one thing I was absolutely going to mention, because both of these guys are totally capable of winning by stoppage and totally capable of being stopped. So I could see Antigulov gassing and Paul Craig winning, or Paul Craig being brutally finished very quickly. I'd go with the under here. I guess for podcast purposes only, I'm going to pick Paul Craig. But yeah, not a good fight at all.
Dude, Antigulov has a total of 7 minutes of fight time since 2016 because he either gets murked or like submits somebody. Dude, so bet the under. It's probably going to be a massive favorite, but I think it's foolproof at this point. I think that's going to happen. Someone's getting stopped. For my pick, I'm picking, going to grab a beer and going outside with my girlfriend, something here and there. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, up next, I actually like this fight. Carla Esparza sitting at a plus 130-ish to Marina Rodriguez, undefeated, minus 160. Matt.
So I'm all over Rodriguez here, but this fight does make me a little bit nervous just because Carla Esparza knows how to win rounds. Our last 6 decisions, 5 of them have went her way. That being said, I trust Marina Rodriguez to use her length and her height advantage that he's going to have to keep Cookie Monster, one of the worst fucking nicknames in the UFC, at the end of her punches. And she's got good takedown defense. She gets back up even when she does get taken down. And if Carla tries any shit to take her down from within the clinch, I did notice that Rodriguez really punishes you. If you want to get in the clinch with her and you want to work takedowns from there, you're going to eat a lot of knees. You're going to eat a lot of elbows. And Carla on the feet has looked really gun-shy. Like I said, man, she's really just been trying to control her opponent to coast the decision. And I don't think Rodriguez allows that to happen. It's definitely possible. She's a vet. She knows how to do it. I don't think Rodriguez allows that to happen. Chris, what are you thinking?
Honestly, I'm glad Mike's excited for this because that makes one of us. I'm not looking forward to this fight. Marina, I think, should win this fight based on everything you guys just said. I completely agree with. She punishes you in the clinch, and it seems that – and when you're going for takedowns, which is what Esparza is going to be trying to do. But it seems as of lately, Esparza has been relying on her stand-up way too much, which is not fucking good. So – it's not good for her. Her stand-up isn't good, so that's going to not be good for her in this matchup. But with that being said, she does have good wrestling when she decides to use it. And Marina was taken down and controlled by Calvillo badly, I think even a 10-8 round. And that was a lot of control that she gave up. So if Esparza can get control, even especially in the first round when they're dry and Esparza's not tired, it's only a 3-round fight, So if Esparza could eke out one, I can see this going to an ugly split decision. But Esparza is totally capable of being stopped on the feet too. We've seen it before, and we'll probably most likely are going to see it again. I'm going to ride with Marina on this one, but, tail with caution because as far as it does have the takedown threat, and I don't trust Rodriguez getting back up if Carla does get her down.
Yeah, so Marina's 5'6", Esparza's 5'1". She's going to have to cover a lot of distance to get that takedown for Esparza, So, and I do think you're right. The Calvillo thing was a little bit scary. She got a 10-8 round on Marina, which led to a draw. But I think Calvillo's top game, like her jiu-jitsu and wrestling, is much better than Esparza's, in my personal opinion. And I gotta say, like, that last minute, like, so Calvillo took her down for like 4 minutes, and then that last minute, Marina managed to get up. And that last minute, she came full throttle at Calvillo to try to, like, maybe, steal back the round. She clearly didn't, but, like, she's gonna be coming at you so freaking hard the whole fight. Punches and bunches. Carla's going to be lost on the feet, and I think that's going to definitely be enough to get this decision. I really just hope that she can stop the takedown, man, because if Carla edges out another close split decision win based off her wrestling, I'm just going to lose it. I'm going to lose it, man. Marina deserves this win, and that's who I'm rolling with. I think there's definitely value there, too.
One thing, Mike, I also don't think people realize that Marina's actually older than Esparza. I thought that was one thing that I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, she only started in MMA like 4 years ago.
Yeah, very late in her career. Where I think that, and the other thing to back Marina even further, Esparza that I didn't mention, Esparza I think is kind of almost just fighting for a paycheck at this point. I saw on Instagram, I think it was like 2 years ago, she sold her Harley that she won on Tough just to make more money. Like literally, she was hard up for cash, dude. So I think at this point it's just like 32 years old. You're not getting back to the belt in any world, so kind of just fighting for a paycheck here. And I think Marina is the fresher, younger in MMA years girl, and I think she ekes it out.
All right, let's get it.
Just to sprinkle some stats in there, even including that Calvillo fight, she does still have an 85% takedown defense, which is pretty fucking solid. So, hopefully she could use that reach, keep it up right, and we all can go home with a win. Go ahead, Mike, on to the next one.
Fabricio Verdum,
Christ.
massive, massive underdog. Let me just check real quick. Plus 260 going up against Alexander Gustafsson, minus 335. Matt.
So, Gustafsson recently, I'm sure you guys saw, said how he regrets that whole retirement thing, said it was in the moment, shouldn't have done it. On the other hand, Fabricio Bag of Milk Verdum looked horrible against Olenek. Like, one of the worst performances I've seen. Like, he looked like a guy – in his defense, he looked like a guy off of a USADA layoff. I don't give him any shot in this fight unless he's able to sub Gustafsson. I just don't think he gets it there. I think Gustafsson is – obviously he's going to be a lot longer. He got outstruck by Olenek. What the fuck do you think Gustafsson's going to do to you? Like, I don't know, man. Like – I don't give him any shot in this fight. I know Mike was probably going to disagree, but I think this is quick, easy work for Gustafsson in his heavyweight debut. Chris, what do you think?
It's so funny. You guys always disagree. But I'm going to ride with Gustafsson on this one as well. Gustafsson looks like, I don't fucking know shit, but he looks to be carrying the weight very well. I know on Ariel's show a couple of years ago, I remember hearing an interview and he said that when he's not in camp, he's like in the low mid 230s, and he's even gotten as big as 240, 242, I want to say, which is pretty fucking big. That's a legitimate heavyweight. Like Curtis Blades weighed in at 242 not that long ago. But I think he's going to weigh in around in the low 230s, which is, heavyweight size. His takedown defense is great, which is, I think, is Verdum's only path to victory here, is getting Gustafsson down. Gustafsson took John Jones down, for God's sake, so his wrestling's there. His takedown defense he was able to get up against DC in a 5-round slugfest, and Verdum just looks way over the hill. Like, I can't put any stock in Verdum after that. Granted, this is a lot of light heavyweights moving up to heavyweight have not fared well, as we've seen as of lately, but I am going to stick with Gustafsson on this one. I think Gustafsson wins a decision.
I know Gustafsson said that he regrets saying that, but like in that Anthony Smith fight, man, like people are saying like, oh, he was winning the first 2 rounds and he lost. No, he got soundly beat by Anthony Smith the whole fight. And then like I saw like his will and his desire to fight like fade during that fight. And I've never seen that in Verdum. And, Verdum, he claims in an interview, so this is all hearsay, like he didn't have a great training camp for the Oleinik fight, and because it was during quarantine, a lot of things were up in the air. So, and he said for this particular fight, he had a full training camp, much better, all around training for this fight. So, and all it really takes, like Verdum is still a high caliber, arguably one of the best heavyweight jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world. He took down Alexander Volkov a couple times prior to, getting gassed out. And that fight was very, very, if that was a 3-round decision, like he could have won, so it's all up in the air. And I just don't think that he should be that big of a favorite coming off of retirement, being a minus 330 against a Verdum that was, pretty solid heavyweight title holder for a decent amount of time. I just think Gustafsson, I don't know if he's, I don't want to say like he's been coddled his whole career, but like, that everyone like toots his horn for that first John Jones fight, but it's been, everybody knows that John Jones was blowing coke off a stripper's ass the week before. He wasn't training for that fight, and then they fought again, and then he got soundly beat by John Jones. I don't know. I just think Gustafsson maybe biting off a little bit more than he can chew here, and I see a very, very good chance where he loses this fight. So I'm going to ride with Verdum. I think he looks a lot better than he does against Oleinik, and I think he surprises a lot of people, including Gustafsson, in this fight. And I think as soon as Gustafsson, faces a little bit of adversity like he did the Anthony Smith fight, he might shut down again, man. I'm telling you, it might happen. So I'm going to roll with Verdum here. Up next, the trilogy fight, rubber match. Mauricio
UFC newcomers.
Yeah. Mauricio Shogun Rua, minus 200, going against Rogerio Nogueira, plus 155. Matt.
If Shogun loses this fight, man, they need to take that boy out back. Jesus Christ, dude. Like, oh my, yeah, I'm all over Shogun here. I can't believe that Nogueira won his last fight, let alone like it has just the fact that he's even fighting still. That this is like a Bellator fight, in my opinion. I'm surprised this isn't headlining their biggest card of the year over there. Yeah, I'm on Shogun here. These guys are about as they're vets. They are as UFC day one. Fucking props to them for doing the damn thing for so long. But you can only take so much damage, and I just hope that both of them get out of this healthy. All jokes aside, and the loser probably going to be Nogueira, sails off into retirement. Do not get drawn into bare knuckle boxing, for the love of fucking God. Not much else to say here. They're gonna stand and trade until somebody falls. There's no other outcome here. Chris?
I feel like anyone listening to our podcast does not need our fucking analysis in this fight. Like, they both fought 2,000 times each. They fought twice already, and Shogun won both. So I guess he's going 3-0 here. He seems fresher. Like, as psychotic as this sounds, wasn't it like maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago, that people were saying like, oh, Shogun wins one more, he's about to fight for the fucking belt. Like, dude, I was about to lose it. But with that being said, you know what's hilarious? Gustafsson is 33, I think about to be 34, and Shogun's 38. So it's only a 5-year difference. And Verdum is 5 years Shogun senior, which is fucking madness. Just spitting out fun facts, because I don't think this fight needs to be broken down at all. They both fought a billion times.
Yeah, I'm going with Shogun because I don't know, he's the favorite and he won the first 2 fights, but let's not forget Shogun's last fight. He went to a draw with Paul Craig, lost the first round 10-8, and then grappled Paul Craig for the next 2 rounds. So like, I don't know where Shogun's at either, but Rogerio's sitting at 44 years old, man. He's probably got the better overall boxing, but like Shogun, I don't know. This fight, who cares, man? Shouldn't be the co-main event, let's put it that way. Up next, main event. Let's go.
Let me say one thing, Mike.
Go ahead.
MMA is the most unforgiving sport ever. 10 years ago, people would die to see these two fight. Now I'd rather die than watch these two fight.
Dude, Father Time is undefeated.
Insane.
Crazy. We got Robert the Weeper Whittaker. Very slight favorite. I think probably minus 120, minus 130, going up against Darren Till, plus 105-ish. Matt.
I know I'm going to relapse on this fight and start biting my fucking nails again, man. So, guys, these are two of, like, my top 5 favorite fighters. I've loved both of them since day one. Like, enamored by both of them. I love Whittaker's style in there. I love the way he came up through the ranks. Like, he was an underdog against Jacare. I don't remember what the line was. I just remember he knocked out Jacare. I was through the roof excited, so pumped when he got the belt, because I said it when he fought Natal way back when, to Chris, when my very green UFC days, that he was going to hold the belt one day. And then just seeing Till come up through the ranks, outpoint Wonderboy, shut down Kelvin, and especially seeing the whole city of Liverpool behind one guy, to me was just so awesome to see. I loved him on the mic, but it's then you get this and you get two of your favorite guys going at it, and you almost don't even want to watch. That being said, I am going to root for Till here. I think it's better for the division. I think he's definitely the better striker. It's not even a question. He's the better striker. Whittaker probably packs a bigger punch, but if we're talking just overall better Muay Thai, better everything, it's going to be Darren Till. He's going to be a lot more precise with his strikes. His counters are going to be on point. I just hope Whittaker gets out of there without much damage, because he's taken a lot lately. And for such a young guy, I do not want to see his career get halted early, because he is talented as shit, and he's always going to be right in the mix in this division as long as that chin holds up. We'll see what happens, but I'm on Till, and, God bless both these guys, because I don't want to see anybody get slept. Chris, go ahead.
Oh man, I know Mike is having fucking anxiety attacks over there and been getting, going at it with people. The more and more, man, if you've listened to this podcast once, you've heard me ramble once, and this is once or twice, and this is going to be one of those. I am so torn on this fucking fight, and I keep wanting to go back and so Darren Till is everything Matt just said, right? The UFC wants him to win. They're putting him in position to win. Whittaker, no doubt, has been coming off some tough losses. He got dropped by Romero a few times. I mean, who fucking hasn't? But he went 10 rounds with Romero. That takes a toll on people, as you've seen, since people who fought Romero since. And then got put out by Izzy bad. He was basically knocked out in the first round and then got re-knocked out in the second round. With that being said, he is coming off a bit of a layoff. He's only 29 years old, and he looks and seems rejuvenated in all the media days, everything I've been watching from him. Anytime I go like this, by the way, on the podcast, because my TV's right there and it's all the videos I fucking watch on this TV. But and he's also significantly more battle-tested than Darren Till. Darren Till has – I don't want to – I feel like I'm taking away from Darren Till here, but the more and more I think about it, Darren Till has kind of fought – I don't want to say no one, because he's fought great people, but when he's fighting these high-caliber guys, he's losing. He outpointed Wonderboy and Kelvin Gastelum. I remember when he fought Cowboy, and we were talking about it, I was like, I think Cowboy's going to beat this dude and, remind everyone who Cowboy is, and then he whooped Cowboy's fucking ass. Next thing you know, headlining against Wonderboy. And I feel like that went to a lot of people's heads. So this is one fight where it would make my life so easy if I could see Robert Whittaker fight one more time, just to know what he would look like in the cage. You know what I mean? I just feel like, I don't know, is he going to get fucking slept by Darren with one of those straight lefts, or is he going to be fucking, like Yoel Romero in the first fight where he just doesn't go away? I don't know. I'm so fucking torn on this fight. I don't know, with that blitzy karate style that Whittaker has, it might be a detriment to Till, because Till kind of is a bit flat-footed. So I don't want to see that. I think that if Till comes out and puts Whittaker on his back foot, that would be great. I literally don't know who to pick here. I think I said Till this whole time, but I think because I know both of you are going to say Till, someone's got to say Whittaker on the podcast.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that Till only has his straight left, or his 1-2, or his kick, and I disagree. People aren't realizing how much of a puzzle he is, because when he fought Kelvin Gastelum, Kelvin Gastelum never fought like that in his life. He just didn't know how to get to Till and put together combinations. And that's a testament to how solid Till is as a striker. And the same thing with Wonderboy. He out-Wonderboyed Wonderboy. That's very, very, very impressive. And people are overlooking that. They're only looking at the Masvidal KO loss, and they're looking at the Tyron Woodley loss. And obviously those are obviously not good performances, but he rebounded well against Gastelum. Clearly won. I don't think it was close. I think he won the fight. And I did that on the flip side. I'm one of those people that I think Whittaker definitely took too much damage in his career. He himself got TKO'd by Wonder Boy way back in the day at 170. So he's a little bit chinny in my personal opinion at this point in his career. Izzy was just touching him with like not hard punches and he was just going down. So I know he took a lot of time off. I don't know if it was enough. I think the damage that he accumulated over time, like he'll never be the same fighter he was prior to the Romero fights. And I don't think he'll ever really get the belt back. I really don't see that happening with Costa and Izzy up there. And, you got Hermanson and up there as well and a few other guys. I just think that Till will eventually find his groove, find a way to pick at him, I think he's going to make Robert very tentative, just like he did with Wonder Boy and Gastelum. And I think he's eventually going to find that straight left is going to finally find its home. And I think he's going to rock Till and finish him because he's got that killer instinct. Once he hurts you, he's coming after you. So I do see a scenario in which Till gets the TKO at some point. And I can't wait to tweet it all over the place, man, because you guys don't know how many times I've commented on so many people's Twitter saying like everyone is against Till. It's crazy. I really don't see that many Till supporters, and they all just think that he's overrated and got pushed too much and the UFC likes him too much, and I disagree. I do think he's a fucking phenomenal striker, offensive and defensive. And Robert Whittaker, if he fights like he always does, he's going to get clipped. I really do think that. And at 185, I think they're both sizable dudes. And, we'll see. I'm so excited for this fight, man. Excited.
I completely agree. Like, oh, man. Till is – Dan Hardy said it, and it's like the perfect description for me. Till is basic, but he is an absolute expert at the basics. Does that make sense? Like he's he's a puzzle, and he knows exactly what he's doing there, and he's setting traps, and he's an experienced striker there. And I don't think people are giving him nearly enough credit, like you said. All over the internet, everyone's picking Whittaker. And yeah, I think Till's definitely the real deal. He's got that big of a following. The UFC Dana White backs him for a fucking reason. People tend to forget he put Masvidal on his butt in about 10 seconds too. So he was 10 seconds away from finishing that fight.
Yeah, and he was killing himself to get 170, man. We saw those UFC embedded videos where he's literally his teammates are dragging him into the sauna, dragging him out of the sauna. Man, it's too much. At 185, this is his home, man. And I think we're gonna see Till put on a performance. I really, really think so. I think Robert Whittaker needed to take more time off. I really do, because that knockout against Izzy, like those kind of touches, like it was similar to the Benavidez Figueiredo fight where he gets hit and then he melts. You know what I'm saying? And then comes back up and he's just like, and then he gets hit again, and melts. It's like that's almost worse than getting knocked out cold. You know what I'm saying? That does more damage to you long term. So that's me. I know me and Matt are on the hill, baby, and you're gonna. I like you playing devil's advocate, man. Because
I have to.
Yeah, we're fans of both guys. We don't want to see anybody, but we're making. And like I said, the more I do research on this fight, the more unsure of myself I am. So, but at the end of the day, I'm picking him.
That was my problem. I was so heavily invested in Darren Till that I was almost finding reasons to pick against myself. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And I just think I said it to you guys yesterday, the battle testedness, if that's a real fucking word, of Robert Whittaker is either going to be why he wins or absolutely detrimental. I think that's the deciding factor. Because he's been in so many fucking wars and these big fights, is that going to carry him on and he's going to be able to wear Till's storm, or is Till going to fucking put his ass away? You know what I mean? But I do think the UFC is great. This is perfect matchmaking for Till to win, catching Whittaker, huge name, ex-champ, right on the decline, and catapulting him into a title shot.
Yeah, and the line is close for a reason.
Hell yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, Whittaker. But hey, the odds makers are the smartest dudes in the world. Vegas is built off of this. So they know that the line is close for a reason. So I don't understand all this Whittaker love. Anyway.
Casuals, man.
Talk about some Bellator?
Bellator Fridays, baby. 242. Let's go. Of course, we're talking about Bellator.
This is MMA gossip, not UFC gossip. We got to respect all promotions.
All right,
Dude,
yo,
you just got me horny.
take it away because I'm not a huge Bellator. I know the couple guys in the
Let me
fighter,
pull
but
this up.
take it.
Do you
So
want
I'm
to
just
just
going to go with the main card. I'm just going to pull up I'm just going to run through it. And Matt, feel free to jump in. Just let me know if you want to hop on anytime. So first up on main card, Aaron Pico, who at this point should be headlining every fucking Bellator event there ever was, is taking on Solo Hatley Jr., who I know absolutely nothing about, because I'm not supposed to know anything about him. Aaron Pico is a -900 favorite in places, and he's 5-3 in Bellator, which is actually insane because on anyone's account he would be 8-0. His 5 wins are brutal finishes, and his 3 losses are brutal finishes. I think he got those out of the way, so to speak. He's super fucking young, and no one wants to see you go out like that. So his chin definitely has some durability issues going forward, but he's like he's the prodigy, you know what I mean? Like, so people want to see him do good, and Bellator is perfect at matchmaking insanely high-level caliber athletes versus people you've never fucking heard of. They just got off the street. So with that being said, Aaron Pico's going to fucking win. Anything, Matt?
Man, I really hope he wins because I love Pico, man. Like I do, even though like I do watch fucking Bellator. I usually only the main card because the prelims are unbearable sometimes. It's like guys that are 1-10, but I like Pico a lot. I really want him to win this fight, and more importantly, I don't want him to get knocked out again because this kid can only take so much damage to the point where his career could potentially get ruined. I know you were saying something pre-podcast about how the Bellator, they were going to take it slow with him and all that shit, if I'm right. And, like, I don't know, do you feel like they did that? Or do you think they just said, all right, we got to push this kid. He's our guy. He's our golden egg, like, cash cow, whatever. Like, I don't know.
So a few things on that. So Aaron Pico came into Bellator MMA. He was signed when he was like, I believe, 19 years old, and they gave him a contract that was basically like, look, you're going to fight for us whenever the fuck you feel ready. He didn't know if he was going to go to the Olympics or what he was going to do. Then he fought Zach Freeman in MSG, and it was like, okay, he was on the main card. Bellator is in New York, big card. I think, who's the fucking main event of that card? I think it was like Fedor and fucking someone, you know, it was one of those type of cards. And
Chael and Vanderlei.
Chael and Vanderlei. Okay, I thought it was Chael and Fedor. Okay, there you go. That's a huge Bellator-esque card. Anyway, he got dropped in like 30 seconds and submitted by Zach Freeman, who was literally, no exaggeration, like this is true, has a day job as a sales guy. So he like sells like solar panels. So they brought him in to be stopped brutally, and Aaron Pico, you know, he froze on a big scale basically. Then he came in, won 4 fights in a row. He beat Leandro Higo, who is a Bellator superstar. You know, he could fight in the UFC easily at 145 or 155. He's very good. Then he fought Henry Corrales in a war and got fucking finished. Had dropped Henry Corrales and then got fucking clapped and knocked out. People were like, that was really bad. Maybe it was a fluke, but now at this point he's 4-2. So they're like, okay, shit, like maybe it wasn't a fluke. Fights Adam Borix, who's a humongous Bellator prospect, was in the featherweight Grand Prix. He actually lost his first fight by submission, but he was one of the favorites to win the whole thing. He flying knee knocked out Pico. Sorry, my dog was just pawing at my leg. Flying knee knocked out Pico, and everyone was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is really, really bad. This is not what anyone wanted to see coming from Aaron Pico. And they were like, maybe we should slow down. And Pico's like, I'm not taking a back step. Like, I want to fight. So this is basically answering your question, Matt. Pico refused to take a back step in competition. He went right to the ring, and they're like, okay, you're a professional fighter now. Here you go, fight the best fighters we have to offer. Went back and fought someone, I don't even remember his name off the top of my head, and won in devastating fashion. A body shot, like, bad.
I remember that.
Sat his ass down, folded him, and they're like, okay, all aboard the Pico train again. So now it's looking like they are taking a back step in competition, and he's fighting a lower level Bellator guys, and he's just to come out here. And I would be surprised if the fight is still going after the second round.
Yeah. So a common theme that I've heard from a lot of analysts around Pico has been he fell in love with his hands. For those that don't know, he can wrestle his fucking ass off. He was the only person to qualify for the Olympic wrestling team as a teenager. Like, he's top of the food chain wrestler. Like, I'm sure Chris can rattle off some of his credentials. I'm just not familiar with the wrestling world, so I don't want to really speak to it. But he can fucking wrestle, man. So I feel like if he would use his wrestling more often, he probably would be undefeated. Like he really did fall in love with his hands way too much, in my opinion. So we'll see. I mean, tomorrow's Friday, right? Yeah, tomorrow will tell. But I don't know. I'm hoping he gets back on the train, and I'm hoping he just starts to mix it up more. You know, it's called mixed martial arts for a reason. Mix in your fucking wrestling, dude. You have it in your back pocket all the time. It's your strong suit. Use it.
Yeah, so the reason when Bellator signed him, he didn't fight right away because he was literally going to the Olympics. Like that was his intention. People are I know this is very heavy, but we're referring to him like, you know, comparing him to GSP just because he's got like the dream team of coaches. He's fucking boxing with Freddie Roach, who's like Manny Pacquiao's trainer, you know, best boxing coach ever. He's at Jackson Wink now training with Greg Jackson, and he's actually training jiu-jitsu in the gi now. He's a blue belt, which is hilarious because he's an Olympic wrestler with a fucking blue belt, but a blue belt in the gi. And he was training with Antonio McKee Jr. and Sr. Antonio McKee is essentially Bellator's number one biggest prospect they have in the entire roster. He's undefeated. He's expected to win the Bellator featherweight Grand Prix and take the belt from Patricio Pitbull, and he's super young. So them training together, that's, you know, two savages going at it on a daily basis. And now with Greg Jackson in this corner, I mean, it's a recipe for success. So if I didn't suck his dick enough on this podcast, he's fucking good and he's going to win. Next up is JJ Wilson taking on Taiwan Claxton. Let me see. The odds here are they have Taiwan Claxton at minus 255, which rightfully so. Taiwan Claxton is a Division II All-American wrestler. He's a beast. He lost one time in Bellator. I'm trying to think who it was to. I'll remember in a minute. But he lost one time, and it was, you know, a little bit of a setback for him. It was against good competition. I don't know if it was Henry Corrales or if it was Leandro Higo, someone very good that Aaron Pico had fought as well. And Bellator is really high on him, so they want to give him favorable matchups as well. JJ Wilson's undefeated. He's only 5-0 though. He's 22 years old, coming in a little unexperienced here, and I think Taiwan Claxton's just got this one in the bag. He's just Bellator. He's super fan friendly, flying knees, super exciting, and he has the wrestling where he's not afraid to throw shit like that because he knows he's not getting taken down. Next up is Jason Jackson, who Bellator also fucking loves, taking on Jordan Mean, a UFC vet. Jordan Mean, definitely battle-tested. His UFC resume speaks for itself. Bellator is super high on Jason Jackson. Me and Matt were just speaking about this before. Jason Jackson looks like a fucking pirate, and his record, he's probably like 12-5-ish, somewhere around that. He definitely has losses. He's definitely beatable. Jordan Mean has losses and is definitely beatable. This is one card where if you want to go with the dog, Jordan Mean here at plus 130 is definitely a good bet, in my opinion. And then the main event is fucking dope. You guys both need to speak on behalf of this one. Yeah. We have Ricky Bandejas at plus 140 taking on Sergio Pettis. Bandejas is most famously known for knocking James Gallagher out fucking cold. Dude, big right hand, sat him on his butt, and then did the fucking sweet chin music, Shawn Michaels style, and put up Gallagher on his ass. Finished it with some disgusting ground and pound. One of the craziest knockouts I've seen in a long time. He then fought Juan Archuleta and lost, but Juan Archuleta literally just fought for the belt. And then he fought one more time after that. I'm trying to think who he fought, and he lost. Yeah, and he lost, right?
Yeah, he got subbed.
He got subbed quickly. But Bandejas is a really big prospect. Bellator is super high on him. Sergio Pettis coming from the UFC. He loses fights that he shouldn't quite lose. Ryan Benoit, for example. Benoit, I guess. So he's not very trustworthy coming in here as the favorite. So I do like Ricky Bandejas here. I think Sergio Pettis should win and will win, but I'm 100,000% on the Bandejas train.
Yeah, I'm on Bandejas too here. How crazy is it though that Pettis has a win over Joe B? It's fucking wild, man. He's been in there with Joe B. He's been in there with Cejudo. I mean, granted, he lost to Cejudo, he lost to Formiga, lost to Rob Font. So it seems anytime that Pettis got tested, except for the Joe B fight, he's lost. Honestly, I mean, he beat Tyson Nam. He did beat Brendan Moreno, but Brendan Moreno, in my opinion, he made strides quick. Like he went from like average to like, all right, this guy should get a title shot really soon. But regardless, I'm on Bandejas here. I've watched a lot of him. I'm a huge fan. This fight is going to be a fucking banger, dude. I'm excited for it. I'm going to watch the whole main card. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. So I do think Sergio definitely has the better hands. He's very super over the top technical, sometimes too technical sometimes, but everything he throws is, to touch you on the judges' scorecards, get that W. I think Bandejas is a little bit more violent. He's like looking to finish you, looking to clip you, looking to hurt you. And obviously I'm a little biased. Back in 2013, 2014, I used to train with Bandejas at Nick Catone's place, jiu-jitsu, and I was significantly bigger than him. So I kept up with him well. He was awesome back then, much younger, obviously, but I'm going to side with Bandejas here, go with the underdog. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm pretty sure he opened up as a much bigger underdog than what he is right now. So I guess that I don't know if that's the public or the sharps on him, but I do think it's a close fight. I could see a scenario in which this goes the distance and it's like a split decision kind of thing, because their striking is very close. I could see maybe Bandejas landing the harder strikes, but Sergio landing like more strikes overall, maybe significant strikes in the eyes of the judges. So I do think the line is appropriate now, but I'm going to side with Bandejas because I know him.
Yeah, I hear you guys. So I think at 8 o'clock p.m., I believe, Bellator 242 starts. It's in Uncasville, Connecticut, which is their favorite fucking place in the world.
Is it the zone?
That's one thing I want to touch on. I think it's gonna be live on the Paramount Network.
Okay.
I think they're still streaming on DAZN, but DAZN is not re-upping their deal with Bellator. There's been a lot of problems, a lot of friction, a lot of back and forth there. So they are not re-signing with DAZN. DAZN is supposedly picking up bare knuckle, which is pretty fucking interesting. So we'll see what direction they're going. If that's the case, I pay for DAZN because I'm a fucking moron. I pay for DAZN. I pay for ESPN Plus. I pay for UFC Fight Pass and UFC Fight Club. So I need to drop something. DAZN is probably going to be that. I'm not going to cancel it. Who am I kidding? Because they put boxing on there now too. So I'm going to fucking keep it. Who am I kidding? But,
I forget I have DAZN sometimes until fucking Anthony Joshua's fighting out in Abu Dhabi or something.
That's why I would keep it.
Exactly.
But with that being said, boys, that wraps up Bellator 242. I'm going to pass it to Mike for final statements. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to fucking do the usual. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're over 40. We're almost at 45 subscribers, which is sick. Having a YouTube channel is so fun. Our iTunes, we have 65-star reviews, so thank you for that. All the boys gave us a little jump start, and now people are reaching out. People I haven't heard from since high school are texting me about the podcast, all good things. I'm going to be on another podcast, which I wanted to shout out as well, straight after this. All in all, my buddy Kale we're going to talk some UFC, a little bit of Bellator in there, so we'll see. So tune into that as well. Thank you guys as usual. Like, comment, subscribe. Over to Mike. I don't know if I pointed the right way on my screen. Is over here, probably over here, probably up. Who knows?
All right, yo, as always, love the sport, love mixed martial arts. Tune in Saturday. As always, we'll be ready next Tuesday to break down the fights that are on Saturday, and then we're going to break down August 1st fights, which was originally Holly Holm and Irene Aldana, but now it got the pump up, better fight, better main event, Edmund Shabazian going up against Derek Brunson, much better. As always, love you guys. We'll see you next time.